Alright, Vault Dwellers, today we're doing a tier list of the Fallout games. I know what you're thinking. Fella, hasn't this already been done plenty by more credible YouTubers? And to that I say, let's get right to it. Now this technically isn't all the Fallout games, but they're the ones I choose to recognize. First up, we got Fallout. Now this is certainly one of the games. You could even call this the very first Fallout game and you'd be right. Truthfully, this is an amazing game, but unfortunately being the first of the series, the creation of this game knocked over the first domino that would trigger the chain of events inevitably leading to the development of Fallout 76, and for this reason I can only give it a D ranking. On to Fallout 2. One could argue this is the second game in the series, and begrudgingly I'd have to agree. Now this game plays a lot like the original Fallout, very much a point-and-click adventure with impressive world-building elements. The biggest selling point is that one drill sergeant that just absolutely berates you. That dude is funny, I like him. For that reason, I think Fallout deserves a solid C. Fallout Brotherhood was still released in 2004 on the PlayStation 2 and original Xbox. This game is pretty infamous among the Fallout community, typically being called just plain bad. I think mechanically the game is alright. It's cool that there's a co-op mode. If it wasn't a Fallout game, I'd probably have a higher opinion of it, honestly. It lacks the storytelling and world building of the previously mentioned games, and just doesn't really feel like Fallout. More so like someone wanted to do a weird 180 on the series and focus on the bloodshed of the wasteland, which is totally fine, but I can't help but feel like this was executed poorly, and for that reason I can only give it an A. On to Fallout 3. I can't help but feel like this is where the community really started getting kind of toxic with this weird fetishizing of my favorite game is better than yours, instead of appreciating the individual traits that each game has to offer. Fallout 3 was my introduction to the series and gave me a new appreciation for single player games as a whole. The opening scene of being born and witnessing your mother's death started this recurring theme of loss, followed by your father abandoning you just to reunite with him and watch him die for the greater good. The use of a father figure in Fallout makes for an interesting narrative. Throughout the game, it's almost as if there's this moral obligation to follow in your father's footsteps. There's even dialogue where he'll express if he's proud or disappointed in you for how you handle the Megaton bomb situation. And soon after, he's just gone. After losing your father, we get the option to return to Vault 101 and choose if we want to help them resolve their infighting that was caused by both you and your father escaping the vault. Looking back, I think this quest ties directly to your father passing away, not for convenient timing for a homecoming quest, but because it's meant to see if you uphold your father's morals, and also make you reflect on your time spent in the wasteland. Fallout 3's plot isn't really the selling point of the game. I play it more for the world it creates in DC, and the themes that follow. Overall, I genuinely enjoy this game, and for that reason, I can only give it a C. Next is Fallout Pinball. I've never actually played this game. It's also not actually a game, I think. Instead, it's a level or some shit in Bethesda's pinball game. I don't know, but pinball is pretty fucking baller. Put that shit in A tier. Alright, chances are if you click this video, you're here to see where Fallout New Vegas ranks. Keep your skirt and football pads on, Legion fanboys. Fallout New Vegas is often regarded as the pinnacle of the Fallout games, the epitome of post-apocalyptic roleplay. And I'm here to tell you, yeah, probably. The game is incredibly solid. We all love the plot and the gameplay. The dialogue is humorous but informative to progression. Having numerous factions the player can side with is a huge plus in the roleplay and immersion aspect. My only real gripe with New Vegas is that it feels like there could have been more, which is completely true. There was a ton of cut content from New Vegas that would have given the player more insight to what the Legion and NCR are about and what they were dealing with. But this gripe is subsided with knowing that the game didn't really have all that much time to be developed. I don't think it's inaccurate to say that Fallout New Vegas is an incomplete product, but even so, it's a damn impressive game that has held my attention for years. I cannot stress how much I absolutely adore this game. C tier because it lacks pinball. Fallout 4, now that's another game in the series for sure. I don't know how accurate this chart is. I just looked up Fallout game sales and that was good enough for me. Here we can see that Fallout 4 outsold its predecessors by quite a bit, which is really impressive because I don't really get it. Mechanically, this game is beyond amazing, without a doubt. The gunplay is better than previous titles. I'll admit myself, I used to get so obsessed with building my settlements and dump hours into doing so. Additionally, I really enjoyed wandering throughout the Commonwealth, but all these good things I listed aren't really things I care all that much about in Fallout titles. Yeah, the mechanics were dope, but dude, have y'all seen the dialogue system? I have a bias because I prefer silent protagonist. I think it's better for roleplay. But that aside, the dialogue options were just soulless and generic. It would have been better if it actually told you what you were saying playing. But even then, it felt like the dialogue writing was less than lackluster, and the VR release was just so immersion breaking. Don't get me wrong, it's fun, but in a role-playing game, it's pretty hard to roleplay when your hands are literal controllers. Even with not so ideal writing, I did have a good time with the side quest, which is crazy because the main story felt so dry. It started off so strong with, go out into the world and find your son, just to have to deal with following this anime cryogenic time skip bullshit and realizing your son is an old man with like cancer or something. Then you get some icing on the cake with your old boomer son being like, hey papa, whom I don't actually care all that much for. Here's a robotic son that looks how I did as a child. And I get it, this entire plot has been on some Mass Effect 2, does this unit have a soul, Shepard Commander? Bullshit since day one, and I honestly couldn't be made to care at all. I cared more about Legion than I do some android looking like our son. I know it may be controversial, but I'm gonna have to place this game as a B tier for breaking my heart. And now for Fallout 76, the black sheep of the Fallout community, the game everyone loves to hate. And if you're one of the few people who do enjoy the game, everyone will make sure to remind you that it is absolute dog shit. I'm breaking character to say this. I unironically feel bad for Fallout 76 fans. Every time I open up Twitter, you just see everyone on their knees loving New Vegas and being overly antagonistic about Fallout 76. At the end of the day, if a person enjoys a game, let them enjoy a game. Fallout 76 isn't my cup of tea, but there's plenty of people who've wanted this kind of game for years. D tier. Fallout Shelter has a 6.8 on an IGN review. Personally, I despise IGN in its entirety, so that alone tempts me to say that Fallout Shelter must be good in some capacity. For my time playing the game, I did genuinely enjoy it, but it just became a time sink. I don't think anyone likes this recurring mechanic of, hey, to complete this task you need to wait 3 hours of in-game time, or pay us with this in-game currency that is rare and otherwise can only be bought with real money. Just not really my thing, you know? But I mean, hey, Fallout Mobile. Fallout on the go. Thank you, Todd. S tier.